So we started working together about 6 years ago. Leap Then Look was a way for us to bring our individual practices together, Lucy's in sculpture and performance, and mine in sculpture and film, and also the years of work we'd done in schools and universities and with community groups. Although we'd always done that work, it had always been quite separate from our kind of artistic studio practice. And Leap Then Look was a way of trying to bring those practices together and sort of as a kind of holistic practice, and to work with groups and to work in education and to really feed that into the making of exhibitions.
This exhibition was developed in consultation with 4 different community groups, working really practically through sort of different workshops, exploring materials. We took in a bunch of initial ideas or sort of half-made things, and we kind of developed this really sort of open and playful way of working with those groups. And then through sort of observing and talking to them about a kind of space that might be inviting, interesting to them, we sort of brought together our experience of running different education projects, also our own artistic practices. Over time, we started to develop workshops that were a bit more like a free-flow environment that invited people in to sort of explore and find their own way through different activities. And then that has really developed into creating spaces, exhibition spaces and artworks that have that kind of invitation in them. What's been important for us is the idea of bringing all sorts of people into the gallery that might not normally come in, and also the invitation to kind of engage with art in a sort of physical, bodily way, and yeah, to bring making into the gallery. So you're sort of actually part of the reconfiguring of all of our artworks. So they're being sort of constantly fed into by the different people that engage with them.
Well, everything in the exhibition is available to touch, to move, to put together in different ways. Different elements have been created with different sensory and kind of art-making ideas in mind. So there are sculpture kits, small and large, that you can slot together and make sculptures from. It was really important for us that they would be kind of awkward. The small kit on the table began with us working with offcuts from a furniture maker, and we really liked the fact that those offcuts had a bit of personality to them. They weren't regular, they didn't do what you wanted them to do, so you couldn't decide in advance what you were going to make and then, you know, simply put that together, but you had to negotiate with the materials, and the art-making process then becomes one of sort of a negotiation and finding the sculpture that you're making through the act of making it. And similarly with the large sculpture kit, the pieces are all kind of odd shapes, and the sculptures kind of grow, and the process of making it then is what is really important for us, rather than the kind of finished outcome.
Rather than them looking like something else in the environment and you being able to relate or plan to make something that already exists, you're putting together these sort of abstract shapes. So you're kind of discovering what you're making through doing it. And I think that as well, especially with the larger kit, it really kind of encourages collaboration, because there's a lot of like tipping and balance and things to sort of negotiate when you're building. So yeah, it encourages you to kind of work with other people.
I think the idea of the space was there's lots of different opportunities to invite people to come in and explore in different ways. So the frames behind us are all on wheels, and they can be moved around to kind of transform the environment of the space, or perhaps to make backdrops to things people are doing, or they can put them together in different ways to kind of move between them or create different types of spaces. There's the sculpture playground pieces, which all rock and roll and stack and kind of allow different types of engagement. There are speaking and listening tubes that you can kind of hold between 2 people, and it works surprisingly well that you can kind of hear and talk. You can also stretch them right across the space so people can kind of explore the space, or are invited to take up the whole space. So yeah, so through all of these different elements, we hope that different types of sensory and artistic engagement can develop.
The kind of cushiony soft sculptures that hang on the wall, we wanted to make something that might kind of encourage performance that might kind of prompt movement in different ways. So yeah, they're all different shapes that you can put on, put your head through, put your arms or legs through, and they fasten together easily. So then you may join with other people, create a train, but just a sort of very immediate way of starting to think about moving and how your body might connect to some of these pieces.
I think as well what's lovely is we discover things about the show every time it opens, and particularly the soft sculptures. I remember we'd planned them for arms and legs and heads, but then kids lay them all out on the floor and jump between the holes, and those kind of moments where something that you've made is completely opened out to a new kind of activity are really exciting for us.
The same with using the ply. It's warm, it's really tactile. And some of the different colours that we've chosen, I suppose we've got this kind of palette across this show that we've kind of worked with in a lot of different ways, and we've taken it with us across different projects. The colours really work together. They do, I think, elicit quite a calm space. They're not too kind of vivid. But then there are a few others that are more sort of energising, like the bright orange or the bright yellow that kind of cut across.
There's a looking trolley in the show which has a set of magnifiers and kaleidoscopes and coloured lenses, and I think the idea with that was that you could take them and it kind of explore the space and look in different ways, or take photographs of the sculptures that you've made using these different lenses. They really came from running workshops and working with people and wanting to find ways of looking in different ways, particularly photography workshops where we might make sculptures and then we used to just have a whole box of different lenses that people could use and hold over the camera lenses. So for this show, we kind of cut wooden shapes so we could make these real sort of solid lenses that people could hold up and had this kind of fun handheld sense to them. Tramway seems like a really great space for this to happen in, from being here and seeing the engagement with the local community, the different groups that regularly use the show. I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how comfortable the audience is coming into a space like this. Would really like it to feel like a kind of home from home to people, that they feel they can come and they can come again and they can use it in, you know, whatever way that they want to. At the same time, getting that kind of engagement and really thinking about what art can be.
We believe that there are lots of different ways to engage with and to understand and perceive art, and that they're not just visual and they're not just singular and they're not distanced, but they can also involve shared experiences. Being able to touch and move and shape and remodel things is an important sort of part of Art Encounter that we'd like to promote.